Hi and welcome to Scott's Inverts. I am Scott from Scott's Inverts. Today we're going to be looking at heating a spider room or even closets or units where we've got our spiders. Now just before we get into all that, there is a common misconception that seems to be going around yet again, which is if we're okay, so are the spiders. Not the case. This is because as humans we're quite comfortable between the ranges of 16 to around 22 degrees, and our spiders, majority of them, come from warmer climates than what we exist in. So when our front room's sitting there at 18 degrees and our spider's sitting there, the spider is actually cold because the spider wants to be a lot warmer. Generally you're looking at around 24 to 28 degrees, even though some species are more comfortable at 32. Now let's take a look at warming up those cabinets that we keep our spiders in. So the cabinets are like IKEA units with front closing glass doors and other such things. Now with cabinets and enclosures or even snake vivariums which we heat up and keep our spiders in, we tend to be able to create the whole area of that to a single temperature and a very slight range, i.e. round about 25 to kind of 27 degrees, depending on how you've got it set up. Now, when I first started the hobby, I used heat cables, and I wish somebody had mentioned heat cables to me a long time ago, because when I first got into it, it was all heat mats and individual heatings for each one. And then eventually we managed to get cabinets with glass fronts, and I ran the heat cable around the back of the enclosure, effectively making that cabinet back a whole heat panel. And it's really critical that we use a thermostat when we're doing this. What a thermostat will do is once it reaches temperature, it will turn that heat off, stops it from getting any higher than what it should do. Anyway, that's what I did. And what I also did was use aluminium foil sticker, so it's an aluminium foil tape, and it sticks the actual heat cable to the back of the component and creates that heat force from the back. Now when we're looking at heating a spider room, it's a little bit different. Now when we're heating a whole room up, we have to have a look at something that's really cost effective, that's not going to cost a bomb, one, to buy, and two, to run. And what I've found is oil-fed radiators radiate the heat even when they've been turned off. So what they do is they come on, they'll turn off on the thermostat, but they'll stay warm, so they'll carry on throwing out heat, and then they don't have to come back on again for a good while. So that was the first thing that I got into, was oil-fed radiators. Now the best position that you can put your oil-fed radiator in my opinion, is on a back wall, and it's really important that we think about that back wall as being a spider-free area, because the temperatures in there can get really high. And what I like to do is about 3/4 of the way up, we can put a little fan. Now if you think about back to when we were in school and we heard about heat, and how heat around a room works, it rises, it travels across, as it cools down, it comes down the other end, and then it comes back across the floor, and then you get this cycle. Now this cycle, you're not going to feel it as like a wind, but what you will do as you walk around is you'll physically feel those temperature differences. But we can make a little bit of a change. So halfway up that wall to 3/4, if you put the world's smallest fan, literally just enough to blow a tiny bit of air, what you'll find is that will throw the heat across this level, pushing it further away, and as it comes back down and starts cooling, those temperatures as it falls down the far side wall will be a little bit warmer than what they used to be. And it also pushes the heat out to the sides as well, which is also really important. Now a thing to consider is this. Once you've set that heater up and we've got our thermostat in place and we've set it to the desired temperature, what we want to do is start testing the room with a thermometer. So right above the actual heat source itself, right above your oil-fed radiator, put a thermometer. Leave it for around 15-20 minutes to proper warm up and get that temperature and see what it is. It's going to be surprisingly high right above that. And then what we can do from that point is go around the room with the thermometer along your top shelves, your middle shelves, your bottom shelves, down the far end, the side walls as well, really important, and we can start seeing what the temperatures are all around that room. Now what we can also do is, after several hours, go back and do it again. And this will give you kind of an average temperature, just in case when you first do it, it might be a little bit warm, it might be a little bit cooler. So we get those temperatures up to a stable position. So that second reading will either confirm or deny the first one, just so we can see where we're at. And it's a really cool thing, because if we've got high temperatures up here, so let's say we've got 28 to 30 degrees at this height, just perfect for things like Polythiaria. But then you've got other species that maybe you're conditioning, maybe you're breeding them, so they need to be more down at 18, 20 degrees. Those thermostat readings from your bottom shelves will hopefully give you a reading at around 20 degrees. This is also really key for things like feeders as well, because you know as well as I do, a lot of the feeders love it really, really warm. So the closer to that warm spots in the room they can go, the more they're going to produce. Now, I know a lot of you older keepers, or the keepers that have been in the game for quite a while, are going to know all these tips and trips, and you're going to know what I've said in this video. If you agree or disagree, even if you've got extra hints or tips, it'd be great to hear from you guys down in the comments. Share the knowledge and try and get it to as many people as we can. And I think, going back to the heat cable, I just want to reiterate that the fact that you do need a thermostat, because they are unregulated when you just plug them in. They will heat up to a certain temperature and stay there, but we need that thermostat on to make sure that it heats up the area that we want and it stays at that constant temperature instead of skyrocketing through the roof. One last thing to take into consideration while heating a room is where your doors and your windows are at, because they're always going to be cooler areas of the room. So make sure you get your temperature gauge in there and checking those temperatures. And another fantastic thing is, if you go on somewhere like Amazon, they actually do Bluetooth and Wi-Fi thermometer gauges as well. I've got one down in the shed. I got the wrong one. I went and bought the Bluetooth one instead of the Wi-Fi one. The Wi-Fi one hooks up to your internet and will continuously give you the temperature of wherever you've put that directly to your phone. It is absolutely amazing. I went and bought the Bluetooth one, so I have to be in range, and it constantly tells me the temperature down in the shed, which I find pretty interesting, because even if I'm out of range, I come back and you've still got that full graphic explanation of the whole day right there in front of you. So you will get fluctuations, it will go up and down, but it's really important that we maintain the ups and the downs within the temperature ranges for the spiders that we are keeping. And again, let me just say, if we're fine and we're warm enough and we're okay, that's not the same for our spiders. I am getting a little bit annoyed seeing that comments here, there and everywhere. These spiders, again, come from very warm climates and are used to a lot warmer and live in a lot warmer circumstances than what we do. Plus we put things like t-shirts, jumpers and coats on, which again, you know, makes it, if the room's cool, we can be sitting in there with our nice jumper on and our t-shirt and our thermal undies, quite toasty. But the spider hasn't got those privileges, so it is feeling every 17 degrees of that room, and it wants to be about another 10 degrees warmer than that. So remember, we do need heating for kind of 95% of our spiders and tarantulas in our collection. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and again, if you've got any questions regarding heating, let me know down in those comments. We have a giveaway to end all giveaways coming up on Christmas Day from 6 PM onwards. And if you're a seller and you want to support it, or if you're an individual and you also want to support it, get in touch with myself. We're kind of trying to make it bigger each year, and it was pretty huge last year. We had a lot of winners, we gave away a lot of things. There's fair few mystery boxes up for grabs for this Christmas, but it'd be great to get some European and some overseas sellers joining in the fun as well. So we've got stuff for the whole world. That would be icing on the cake. It will be from 6 PM UK time, and it will be right here on Scott's Inverts. Some of your favourite sellers and YouTube stars are going to be popping on the live throughout the night as well, and indeed I'll put the link in the comments if you fancy joining us up on screen at some point throughout the night as well. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscription button. I can't stress how much it helps a smaller channel like mine out by hitting that subscription button. It gives me a lot more confidence in going forward and carrying on creating these videos for you guys at home. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and as always, we shall see you again on the next one.